Hi there, Denis here from Bushcraft Apprentice, and I decided to take on my first leathercraft project. We want to get a nice rucksack from made out of leather, so I decided to take a trip to Tandy Leather's factory that we have here in Montreal, and talk to the guys down there, and found out what I needed for my project. I was thinking initially in my intro video, I was thinking of using deer hide, but since talking to them, they said, and actually touching the leather for myself, it's way too thin and stretchy. It wouldn't have made a good bag. So I had my choice between cowhide, and just on my way out, I spotted this piece of bison hide, and this was a lot rougher and has a nice texture to it, so I figured I'd give it a try. So with a couple of simple, very little equipment, just a couple of nylon spools and a couple of needles, a piece of chalk, and a good pair of scissors. These are actually sewing scissors, my wife's. We'll see how they do against leather hide. Hopefully they hold up. If not, we'll have to figure something out. So first thing I gotta do, oh yeah, and this contact cement, the Eco Weed contact cement. So for straps and anything that I need to fold over itself, I'll probably be doing with the contact cement, and I'll see how it looks. I might sew it. Even with the contact, even with the glue, I might sew it over anyways, just as for the look. So the first thing we got to do is get our pattern. Since I've never done anything like this before, I wanted to make sure that I didn't screw up this nice piece of leather. So I figured this is about the same width, and I'll just cut the cardboard open, make the pattern roughly on the cardboard, cut it out, and then I'll try to at least have a mock-up generally of the size of the bag that I'm looking for at the end, and it should give me a pretty good idea of a pattern, I think. So here goes. All my tools are carpentry tools, so I figured that in essence, I'm more of a woodworker, but any project, the first thing you gotta do is make a plan. As I showed in the first video, or the gear video, this is the bag I'm using right now. It's a pretty good height. So this would be, see it? Glad I did this. On this, this is about 10 inches wide. 16 inches is a really big bag. How about 12? I just want something small, a day pack, right? Just enough to get basic gear, a hatchet, maybe forest axe if I end up getting on that later on. Some warm clothes, maybe some straps underneath for a wool blanket and a sleeping bag if I want to do like a weekend pack. So 12 inches should be plenty. And if I use this as an example, this is already around 8 inches thick. So we can go for 10 by 12. Be plenty of room in there. And the height, this is a pretty good height. I want to get my hatchet in there at least, so 18 inches sounds pretty good to me. Let's put this aside. Maybe I'll need it again for, so 10 inches deep by 12 inches, not 16, and 18 high. So 18, 18, 18, and the top has to flip over. I want a good amount. So the top, I wanted this a rucksack, so just a flap over the top with something like this, either strapping it down, flipping it down. So I want a good overhang, so that means I'm going to need 10 inches on top, so that's a good 16 inches. I'll have more than less. I'll keep more than I need to make sure. So let's go with 16 inches, 18 inches. With 18 inches on the top. Since the top, I'll probably want to fold the edges over to make a nice seam. So thinking about that, the same thing. I want to fold the top on the top, fold the top with around the rim, that down too. So let's say a good 20 inches. 20, 20, and 20. So, first sketch. Can you see that? Yeah, there we go. Alright, so we got, this is the pattern. We got the top, working like a weatherman here. The top flap, the backing with the straps. We have the bottom for 10 by 12, the front, and the two sides that will sew here, 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 and here. So this is basically, yeah. All right, that there. So, what I want to make sure too, that whatever I measure on the cardboard is going to make sense on this piece of leather that, as you can see, is very irregular. The shape is very irregular. So here, if we have these flaps, so 10, 10, 12, 10, 10, 12, 10 will mean 32. So that means that at least at the bottom, and that's why I'm using those flaps on the bottom, because this is the widest part. So I need at least 32. Ooh, that's cutting it pretty close. From here, I got 32 good ways. I think this will work out. So I'm going to trace this, and I'll keep the camera on, but I'll probably like speed through the whole process, and we'll come back once the pattern is drawn out on the cardboard. Perfect, so now we can line up the piece. Let's see if we got what we need. Come on. And I'm not too hung up on the measurements. If ever the dimensions that we thought of at the beginning don't work out, I can always just make the bag smaller. But I think everything's gonna work out. Pretty close. Yeah, all right, we got it. So if once I put all this together, I should measure up that line. Now see, that's a bit bigger than I want. I want to go something, I think the width is good. It's a little higher, a little bit, it's pretty massive. That's a lot of stuff. I want something compact, lightweight. So, yeah. Also have to figure out how to make this thing round-ish. Because I don't want a box, obviously. So how about I cut this down to 16 inches. The other thing I want to make sure is that I can fit my hatchet in it. Actually, I'll get my bigger hatchet. There. The Weddelling's small forest. So this thing should at least be able to get tucked away. So 16 inches sounds pretty good. Alright, starting to look a bit more like the bag I had envisioned. Now if we can get all these corners rounded off, that'll make it smaller. And I want the top to just taper off. So this is basically what it would be, what it would look like if it was at full capacity. And so I want to make the top here have a nice, what do you call that, the cord to tie the top. So the top's already going to be tied in. So that should automatically make kind of a tear-shaped bag. So the only thing I'll change to get the base more rounded is actually around the base. So once we start tracing this out, I want to really maximize usage here. Okay, this looks good. So I'm just going to put straight just the little marks for the corners, and we'll fill it in here, just a little rounded. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Like I say, for all my projects in woodworking, if I make it too perfect, no one will know I made it. So I don't worry too much about being too exact. I want it nice and solid. And if it looks a little crooked, well then, that's alright. As long as it's solid and functional. Alright. So, now we got that in place. Something like that. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted.